What's up guys, Energy Gel Buyer's Guide video. Why am I moving around the room? It's because I'm a bit excited. Upgrades, I've got a lapel mic on, hooked up to a Rode microphone thing, which basically means I can move around and the audio still sounds the same. Whereas I used to have to sit at the desk because it had one of those mics that were sitting here. So pretty, as you can tell, pretty excited that. But anyway, this video, Buyer's Guide for Energy Gels. So if you're looking at buying some energy gels and you're not too sure which ones are good, this video is going to answer that. Before I get started, before you even go looking for gels, please watch my sugar water video, because if you're actually watching this video and you're thinking you want to buy some gel products, there's a chance that the sugar in the bottle trick might be enough for you and you can save your money altogether and just use the sugar water. So this is actually going to be really simple because there's not many boxes that need to be ticked for me to think an energy gel's good. So we're going to get into them. The first one you should look for when buying an energy gel is the carb mix. And you're looking for some ratio of glucose and fructose in the product. A lot of the energy gels these days are still glucose only, and that means it's going to limit the amount that you can uptake. If you're just training and you're having maybe 1 gel an hour, it's not an issue, but if you're racing or doing harder training rides where you're going to be trying to get in 60 grams or more of carbs per hour, you should be getting some fructose in your gels. At this stage, it's kind of inexcusable for products to not be including fructose in it. There's pretty much no downside and only benefits for including some amount of fructose in your product. In the second half of the video, I'm going to be going shopping with you online and give you some examples to show you what to look for. But in terms of fructose, either fructose will be listed in the ingredients list on its own, or they might say cane sugar, which has fructose in it, or it might say sucrose. So you kind of have to be a little bit switched on in terms of what you're looking for, but essentially either fructose, cane sugar, sucrose, those are the main 3 forms, which means you're going to be getting some form of fructose in the product. And then essentially the only other must-have or thing you should be looking for is the amount of caffeine. So the reason to look for this is you either want to have a caffeine gel, and you're going to be having that when you want a boost of caffeine, or a non-caffeine gel, which is just carbohydrates to fuel you with no caffeine. What you will find in quite a few products is they annoyingly put in some caffeine, but it's a small amount. So it's not enough to be a caffeine gel where you're getting a good big dose of caffeine, but then it's not no caffeine. So it's this annoying little amount that you're like, well, if I wanted a caffeine gel, I'd want more. So the amount I generally go for is, if I want a caffeine gel, at least 75 milligrams of caffeine. And on the other side of things, if I want a no caffeine gel, then obviously no caffeine at all. What you will find is some products that have sort of 20, 30, 40 milligrams of caffeine, which isn't really enough to give you a boost. And if you're not wanting a caffeine boost, why would you want that low dose of caffeine in your gels? To me, that makes no sense. That is essentially the only 2 things I look for. There's a couple of nice to haves in gels. For me, the first one is a holder for the tab where you tear it off. I think it's the Cliff ones have this. So that way when you tear off the top of the gel, it actually stays attached to the gel, so that when you throw it in the bin, it stays attached. Because it's kind of annoying if you rip the top off, you're either going to litter and throw it away, which isn't good, or you're left with like all those little tabs in the back of your jerseys, which is kind of annoying. So having the little holder is quite nice to have. And then I also like gels to be more liquidy and easier to squeeze out. I kind of find, again, the Cliff ones are quite good, but they're quite solid and quite difficult to squeeze out. Whereas ones like the SIS gels, they're almost liquid. You just squeeze them out really easily. It helps you, it means you're not there sort of like having to roll up the gel, as you're riding along, it's just quite difficult. So more liquid gels, I do like. I find the Wiggle gels as well are also more liquidy. And then what don't I care about? What are the things that gel manufacturers might put on the gel packets and seem like it's kind of important, but I kind of don't rate and think it's kind of pointless? First thing is electrolytes. Some gels market themselves as having electrolytes in them. I find that to not be too important. If I need electrolytes, I could use electrolyte products in my bottles, electrolyte tabs and things like that. I'm not going to be using my gels as a source of electrolytes. So for me, electrolytes I don't really care about. I'll get them elsewhere if I need them in the hot weather. Next thing you might see is gels marketing themselves as being isotonic. I don't find that's important because you're not going to be having the gel on its own. You're going to be having a gel, then you might be having some solid food, you might be drinking water. So the tonicity of the actual gel, which is the strength, which is the concentration of the carbohydrates and the electrolytes in it, it's marketed as being like, well, it's isotonic, so you don't need water with it, and that way it doesn't upset your stomach. I think that's all BS. I wouldn't put any weight into the tonicity of the gel, whether it's isotonic or not. Just essentially disregard that for all intents and purposes. The other thing to look out for would be what I call the pointless extras, the things that the brands are putting in there which actually you either don't need or don't really do anything. Examples, we'll see if we can find some. The thing that comes to mind is gels that are like, oh, it's got amino acids in them, or it's got like medium chain triglycerides or some fats in them, things like that. Those sorts of things I say don't worry about too much. And yeah, I wouldn't be buying a gel specifically for any of those things. Okay, so those are my criteria. Let's actually go through and I can't review like every single gel product because I'd be here for weeks. So what I'll do, I'm on 99 Bikes here in Australia, popular website, popular bike shop. They've got a heap of range of gels. So I'm gonna bring up and go through all the ones they sell and rate them. So first one, we're gonna be looking at the SIS gels. Very popular, probably one of the most popular gel products on the market. So we've got here, let's go down. Essentially, we're gonna disregard all this and we're gonna go straight to the specs, and we wanna see, no, we're not gonna do that because I don't have the ingredients list. Hold that thought. All right, we're on the SAS website that has the nutritional information. So first thing, what sort of carb mix is it? Do we have some fructose in it? Let's see, we've got water, we've got maltodextrin, which is chained glucose only, and gelling agents, flavorings. So there's no fructose in this product, which again, if you're having maybe one gel an hour and then having other things, it's probably okay. Like if you're looking to have, let's say 3 or more of these gels per hour, let's say it's a race or a hard training session, I would steer clear of the SAS gels because you need fructose. So that's a big no-no. I don't know, I've said this in other videos, I don't know why SAS don't put fructose in their gels. They put fructose in their drink mix. They put fructose obviously in the beta fuel. For some reason, they're not putting fructose in their gels. I don't understand it. The other thing we're looking at is caffeine. So in these gels here, there's 0 caffeine. So it's a non-caffeinated gel, which would be good for training. Is there any other ingredients here, add-ons, those sorts of things that they're sort of marketing that we can kind of throw out? So anything here, it's an isotonic. Okay, so the isotonic thing's coming in. As I said, I don't care if it's isotonic. It makes no difference to me. So we'll throw that out. Easy to digest carbs, blah, blah, blah. Okay, nothing really, it requires no additional water or fluid. I mean, how can you say that? If you're exercising in hot conditions, you're going to need additional water. So I don't know where they're basing that off. So that's BS. You probably, if you're going for a ride and you're fueling yourself on these gels, you're gonna need water. So don't agree with that at all. You know, the taste is quite good. I do like the taste of the SAS gels, and they're also quite watery. So I do think they tick that box in terms of them being easy to get out of the packet. But here it says you should aim to consume 1 to 3 gels plus every hour, so 60 to 90 grams. Look, which I don't agree with, because if you're getting more than 60 grams of carbs per hour just through these gels, your body is not going to be able to uptake it. Especially if you're getting 90 grams through these gels of maltodextrin only, you're not going to absorb that. So again, not just to rag on SAS too much. A decent product for training. I would not be racing with these unless you've got another product that you're using. Maybe you're using beta fuel in your bottles and you use these gels to top up. That could work, but on its own, it's sort of okay, but not great for racing. So back on 99 Bikes, let's move through. Okay, so then we've got the SIS, the caffeine gels. So let's see these. Remember I said you want to getting at least 70 milligrams of caffeine in a caffeine gel. Otherwise, it's not going to have an impact. And then it's like, why are you having that low dose caffeine? So let's see, double espresso. These have 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is really good. So I actually use these caffeine gels in races, the SAS ones. I don't use them as a carb source, but I will take, let's say if it's a long race, I might take 2 or 3 of these with me in my pocket and have these as a caffeine source and a little bit of carbs. But I will be looking, in a race, I would usually be using my sugar bottles as my carb source. So I'm getting my glucose and fructose. And then I'll use my SIS caffeine gels on top of that to get my caffeine hit. So a nice 150 milligram big caffeine hit, definitely rate these. And very strong taste, coffee taste as well, which some people might not like, but I find it gives me that kick, that real intense flavor. Next one on 99 Bikes, we've got Pure. Let's go to the Pure Banana and Manuka Honey. Wow, bougie. Let's see. Have we got ingredients that we do here? Let's bring it up. First thing, remember, we're looking for the carb mix. So have we got glucose and fructose? Let's see. maltodextrin, so that's glucose, banana puree, that would have a bit of fructose in it, but banana puree would also have fiber in it. So if you've got 23% banana puree, that would be like a nearly insignificant amount of carbs. It's probably more for flavoring and to give texture. So not significant there. And then it's getting into the acids, the antioxidants. So essentially, Manuka honey 6%, that would have fructose in it. But let's see. So from here, it's not clear how much fructose we're getting in this product, but what you could do, the trick is, maltodextrin is not sugar. So on a nutritional label, maltodextrin will come up in the carbohydrate column, but not in the sugar column. So we can see here 21 grams of carbohydrates and 4.2 grams of that is sugar. So it means we're going to be now this sugar would be probably, so what comes up in the sugar, this is maybe too complex for this video, but essentially what is classified in the sugar column would be sucrose or glucose on its own or fructose on its own. So that means for every 21 grams of carbs, there's 4 grams of sugar. And we could maybe assume if it's like sucrose, something like honey, maybe half of that's fructose. So we might be getting essentially 2 grams of fructose per 20 grams of carbs, which is sort of insignificant. Remember, you're wanting that between 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 glucose to fructose ideally. So to be getting 2 grams in of fructose in every 20 grams of carbohydrates is kind of missing the mark. So in terms of the carb mix for this product, sort of missing the mark. Caffeine, there's no caffeine, so this would be a non-caffeinated gel, which is good. Any bonus, what's this? Let's go back. Is there anything here that's sort of, there's no other ingredients really. There's no bonus sort of silly ones. So similar consistent, real ingredients. So, maybe they're saying the honey, it's more of a natural product. I don't care if it's natural or not. I want fuel for my racing and my training. I don't care if it's natural, so I'll disregard that. Probably tastes pretty good. Banana, honey, taste might be okay. Not sort of a product I would be buying, unfortunately. Let's have a quickly look at their caffeine version. Let's see how much caffeine, so it'll be similar ingredients, but we want to know how much caffeine's in here. So let's go and let's see, bring this one up. Similar ingredients, so we've got maltodextrin, coffee extract, organic cane sugar, so that's where the fructose will be coming in. So cane sugar is 50% glucose, 50% fructose. So remember, let's go up here. So 22 grams of carbs, which will be mostly maltodextrin, and then 1.8 grams of sugar. So there's barely any cane sugar in here, literally 1.8 grams. Half of that will be fructose. So you're getting, you're getting less than a gram of fructose per 20 grams of carbs, so insignificant. But what we really looked here for is the caffeine per serving, 30 milligrams of caffeine. So that's where that's what I don't get. If you're using this as a caffeine gel, why would you want 30 milligrams? It's not even like half of what a coffee would be. I think most coffees would be sort of around 70 milligrams, 80 milligrams for like an espresso shot. So 30 milligrams of caffeine, that's not significant. You wouldn't be using that as a caffeine gel. Again, struggle to see how that would be useful. Okay, back we go. Next, we've got the goo. These are caffeine ones. Is there any goo? Let's go to the non-caffeinated ones first. We'll start with the goo Sublime. Let's see, specs. What are our specs? No ingredients list. Here we go. So, ingredients. Maltodextrin, water, fructose. I'm liking this. How much fructose? Any indication? So 70 to 80% complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates being maltodextrin, the chain together glucose. So let's see, total carb 20 grams and then 7 grams of sugar. Okay, and then the 7 grams will actually probably be, so that will be the fructose. Okay, so you got 7 grams of fructose per 20 grams of carbs, which is pretty decent. So that's like 30% fructose. That's pretty good. That's close to that 2-to-1 ratio. So I'm liking this. No caffeine in this one. Anything else? I think I did mention, so they've got leucine, that's an amino acid. Valine, that's an amino acid. Isoleucine, that's another amino acid. So yeah, okay, so they're probably going to be talking about the amino acids thing. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So 450 milligrams of amino acids. Is that going to be doing anything? No. I would not be buying this product over another one just because of the amino acids. They're essentially, if you're fueling your exercise appropriately with enough carbohydrates, you don't need protein or amino acids throughout your ride. So I would be saying that's just a marketing thing. But overall, good carb ratio, no caffeine, pretty good. I like these gels. This is be one I'd go for. Let's look at the caffeine version just quickly. So the similar thing, they've got the amino acids. And then here, this is what you're probably getting at now, 20 milligrams of caffeine. What good's 20 milligrams of caffeine? That's not enough to give you a boost as a caffeine gel. It's just insignificant. So yeah, let's see. Maybe their other one has more caffeine. Let's see. So then their coffee one has 40 milligrams. The espresso one, 40 milligrams again. I would say at least 70 milligrams if you wanted like a strong caffeine hit. And then any other ones? Nah. Okay, so missing the mark there. I would avoid the caffeine version. The regular versions would be pretty good. Let's have a look. Moving on, Cliff. The Cliff Shot. These ones, okay, so you can see here, the little leash. That's what I like. So you tear this off and it stays attached to the packet. Really like that. The problem I have, I've used the Cliff ones before, the problem I have is they're quite hard to squeeze out of the packet. So if you're in a race, you kind of got to go 2 hands off the bars and really squeeze it out. Let's see, ingredients, organic ingredients. I don't care if they're organic or not. Some people that might be a selling point for you. For me, I don't care. Ingredients, maltodextrin, organic dried cane syrup. So that's sugar, sucrose, which is 50% glucose, 50% fructose. So there will be fructose in this product. Let's see how much. So total carb, we've got 24 grams, 12 grams of sugar, and half of that will be fructose because you got the 50% glucose, 50% fructose. So we've got 6 grams of fructose per 24 grams of carbs, which is not bad. Maybe if they're getting closer to that 1-to-1 ratio, I'd probably prefer that. But as this is here, bit of fructose, not too bad. What else have we got? Then it's really simple. These ones, water, they've got the flavoring and then a bit of salt and some preservatives. So the Cliff gels, I do like. They're ticking nearly every box. Aside from they're a bit hard to squeeze out of the packet, but definitely one to keep on your radar. Let's look at the caffeine version just quickly. 100 milligrams of caffeine here. So I rate that. Definitely like it. The Cliff non-caffeine and the Cliff caffeine ones, definitely put on your shopping list. I do like those. Anything else here? I think I've pretty much done it to death. The Morton ones, these are good. Let's see here, specifications, just quickly. Have they got the ingredients? Water, glucose, fructose. They've got their sodium alginate, which is their hydrogel thing. Some people say these are better on their stomach. That could be true. Good carb ratio. There's no caffeine in these ones. Perfect. Very pricey, bit expensive, but effective product. I like the Morton gels. I rate those. The caffeine ones as well. The caffeine ones have 100 milligrams of caffeine in them. Box ticked. That's more than 70 milligrams of caffeine. I like it. Definitely go for the Morton ones. Anything else? The winners, the classic winners. I think anyone in Australia, we've probably had a winners before. Quick look through. Do we have ingredients? Maltodextrin, water, flavor, caffeine. Okay, so you can see here, what's the problem with these? I'll give you 10 seconds. What's the problem with these ingredients? No fructose. That's right, no fructose. So you've only got maltodextrin, so that means good for training, maybe 1 or 2 gels an hour. But if you're racing or going for that upper limit, maybe doing a Gran Fondo, things like that, you'd be wanting some fructose. So, missing the mark there. What else? I've had the Winners gels before. They're quite liquidy. They're quite easy to squeeze out. So that's good. Quite like that. How much caffeine have we got in here? I don't think it says how much caffeine. I actually just went on the Winners website. We've got 80 milligrams of caffeine. That's good. That's above 70 milligrams. That's a good hit. Not super high dose. Remember the SAS ones had 150 milligrams, but 80 milligrams, especially if you're more of caffeine sensitive, it would be a good hit. So I definitely like these as a caffeine gel, probably not one where you're going to be trying to do 2 or 3 gels an hour on the winners because they don't have any fructose. Last one here, Peak Fuel. Actually, never seen these ones before. Peak Fuel, interesting. Energy recovery, made in New Zealand, interesting. This looks exactly like the same nutrition label as the Pure, the ones I reviewed just before. So interesting. What have we got? Dried corn syrup, that's maltodextrin, that's only glucose. Then we've got water and organic cane sugar. Let's see here. So remember cane sugar is going to be half fructose. So we've got 6 grams of sugar per 25 grams. And so half of that will be fructose. So you've only got around 3 grams of fructose per 25 grams, which isn't really enough. I'd like to see that a bit higher. But besides that, caffeine free, cool. Natural lime flavors taste great. I'm sure they taste pretty good. Probably a good training product, these. Probably not one I'd really want to be racing on if you're going for that high level of carb intake. So yeah, missing the mark a little bit in my opinion, but one to consider maybe for training. So that's it, guys. I'll end the video there. Hope you learned something, got something out of it, and can apply this to your own shopping, and I'll catch you in the next one.